Have you ever looked at a mandala and wished you knew how to do one? Wish you understood what they were about? This tutorial is made especially for you. It's a very easy starting point. My name is Janine. I've painted mandalas for 26 years. I absolutely love them. They've really helped me through some hard places in my life, and that's why I love teaching them. And a lot of times this is what I hear from people is that they don't know what they're about, they don't know how to get started, they don't know how to do one. So I'm providing you a very simple image that you can download and color. The same image with some slight embellishments in it, so you can try it again with a little bit more complexity and see how that feels. Please have fun with the tutorial, double speed it, pause, color, whatever you want. There's no wrong way to do it. It should kind of feel relaxing, like an active form of meditation, which is really wonderful. So enjoy, download the image, color it, share in the comments how you felt while you were doing one, because teaching is one thing, but experiencing is what it's all about. So share your comments, how you felt when you were doing it, and then share your picture. All right, enjoy. All right, this is our first mandala inside of the school community. I'm so excited. The first thing I want to show you guys is how much difference just a few simple lines can make. And we're going to take all of this really, really slow and do it a step at a time. But I've provided you this mandala inside of school for you to download and work on. And don't give it too much thought, just have fun coloring it. See where your mind goes, see if it doesn't really kind of just relax you and help you center and focus. I view them as an active meditation, really. And you'll see once we get going, there's nothing better than experiencing it for yourself rather than me just telling you. So I want to show you, this is the one that I gave you, and then just by adding a few simple lines. This is the exact same one with me just adding in some lines. And for this particular one, I used a Sharpie fine point. It's not perfect, but you'll see once we get closer in and further into the study that there's some mistakes, but the thing is that your eye really doesn't catch it, especially once you put color down. So anyway, I wanted to show you that. I'm going to provide this one as well. And then feel free, of course, to take this one and print two and embellish it yourself with just some simple lines. Alrighty, so now we're going to get busy coloring. So we are going to use colored pencils to start with, and I just wanted to show you that this is the kind that I'm using. Prismacolor. I love them for the way that the color goes down on the paper. Right now this is just printer paper, but if you get a good quality paper, like when you're designing your own mandalas, get a good quality paper that has some, like a watercolor paper, something has a little grip to it, and then the colors will be even more beautiful. So I've got the colors that I'm going to use picked out, and I'll just go ahead and pull them out, lay them over here. I think that looks pretty. And so, like, really, just like I said, don't put too much worry or thought into it at first. First, just go in and color. That's literally all we're going to do to start with. And then as we go, I'll show you some other techniques that'll make it really pop and come to life, okay? So I'm not going to expect you to watch me color this whole thing. So I'll do a couple and then we'll pause and then I'll come back on. So I'm working on a cutting mat. You don't have to do that. I'm doing that in order to protect the table, and you don't have to have the tape. In fact, if I wasn't filming, I would not have the tape because I prefer to spin the paper around. That's just the way I like to do it. I'm marking it so that if I decide to do a time-lapse photo, then it'll be in exactly the same place for y'all. So I'm gonna just do some simple coloring, that's all. So it's actually best if you just kind of get quiet and be with your thoughts and enjoy the process. There's really not much to it, right? So we'll pause right there and come back when I finished all the green. Alrighty, I decided to do these little leaves here in green too. And I'm actually using a light to medium pressure. Again, this is not ideal paper. The printer paper doesn't grab the color as much as I'd like for it to, so we kind of have to go over it a few times. You'll see as you go. I don't know if you noticed me doing kind of a circular motion there. That helps fill it in and not look like it does here, so many lines. But one thing that's important, it's very important, is you really have to let go of perfectionism, okay? It's not ever gonna be perfect, and when you're done, it's gonna be beautiful anyway. So just kind of relax and go with it. It's really more about the procedure, okay? So next we're going to pick, I think I didn't pull this out, but I think I'm gonna go with a darker green for these, okay? And then I'm gonna actually use a little more pressure here too, which will make it even darker, all right? And another thing I wanna say here is do not worry about color theory, about what goes together, what doesn't, the color wheel, anything like that. Don't give it any thought at all. You just pick whatever color you want. This is your piece, and there is no wrong way. So you see, the more I press, the darker it gets, and the more I go over it. So that's one way that we're going to create some depth and some interest by varying our pressure. Okay, so I'll come back when we're done with this green. Okay, so now I have my two greens. One thing I do want to add, earlier I had picked about 5 pencils. I've grabbed a couple more. I thought it'd be nice to put a pop of yellow in there, but whatever pencils, whatever colors you decide to use, set them aside so that you don't go back later in the tray and say, oh, which yellow was that, which blue is that, so that way you'll have them handy. That's just a little pro tip for you. So I'm going to do a pop of yellow right now. And yellow's a hard one to show up, so we'll press pretty hard. These are quick little petals here. So one thing that's really cool about doing these is every time you go around, it becomes a little bit easier. The repetition is relaxing. The symmetry is real balancing. There's just so many things, so many benefits. I'm gonna go all the way out here with the pink. I'm gonna do these. These pencils are brand new, that's why they're so sharp. So, see, you'll notice a little variation here between the way that one points out and this one arches up. And it all just works. It just works. Now, if I wanted to, I could have made the different shapes slightly different colors. Anyways, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna pick a couple more colors and fill in some more, and I will be back. Okay, so I decided to go with a light purple on the outside of these petals where I just did the pink. One thing I wanted to point out is that I'm using a similar amount of pressure, therefore saturation, on all of the color that I'm setting down right now. I may go back at the end and create some variations, but for now, about light to medium pressure. One thing I'm noticing, and this is back to the point of letting go of perfect. The old me would have been really bothered by this, but I don't know if you can see when I'm coloring, it's almost like, you know, when you press down on a piece of paper and the paper underneath gets some marks on it. it's not coloring smoothly in a lot of places. And here there's a dark line coming through for some reason. I have no idea. I don't know if it's on the paper, or it might be that there's a cut on the cutting mat underneath, even though that's supposed to heal. So I'm not sure what's going on, but it's going to be okay. We are letting go of perfection and enjoying the process. Is really as part of the therapy around doing mandala work, is just relaxing into the process and not being totally attached to the outcome, just letting it evolve. Alrighty. I'm gonna continue coloring. What do y'all think next? Blue? I think blue. Okay, I'll be back. So one thing I'm noticing already, even starting the blue, is I thought there would be more of a variance between the purple and the blue that I chose, and there really isn't, but it's okay. I'm gonna go with it, and we'll create some more variance, like I said, toward the end when we start adding slight embellishments and stuff like that. So you can see this is, I don't know if you can tell, but if it's looking to, you can kind of cross, like color this way. Once the pencil gets a little broken in, it comes out smoother anyway. Then go this way. You can vary the pressure to fill it in smoothly. See how when the pencil is sharp, it doesn't exactly blend as smoothly, so you kind of have to work with it a little bit. There we go. I'm going to go on around and I'll be back. So it looks pretty. I'm actually happy with the purple and the blue next to one another more than I thought I would be. There are a couple of places, like right here, where the blue went down really nicely. There are places where it did not. That's okay. I'm just kind of talking through my thought process just so you can kind of follow along, and it's not that you have to do it that way, because this is your piece that you're doing, and so you get to do it however you want. But my thought process right now is to bring some of the blue into this next circle. And I'm not sure yet where I'm going to put it, but I want to bring some blue in there just to kind of bring it together. So I guess I'll just pick this shape right here around these little flower petals, and we'll add some blue in there, and here we go again. So coloring is relaxing and calming and therapeutic in itself. Just the act of being creative, for sure, and laying down color and working with color is really a wonderful way to be creative. It's not intense, it's easy, so there's a lot of benefits to it. So that applies to any coloring that you want to do, whether you call it adult coloring or even coloring in a kid's coloring book. But what I wanted to say is that when you're coloring a mandala, then it takes it to another level. And kind of talked about it a minute ago. It's something to do about the symmetry, the balance. The colors are usually very vibrant. There's structure involved, and so it's kind of like you're creating structure and order in your life. I mentioned earlier about centering, and that's really what it feels like, is a really centering and grounding activity besides the color therapy and the act of creating and all that. You have the added benefit of the mandala itself. So mandala is a Sanskrit word that means sacred circle, and just about wholeness. So you're creating structure and balance and beauty in your life. Alrighty? All right, that's the second circle. And now I've decided that there needs to be blue in the interior circle as well. It's going to be one of the dominant colors for me because I'm really liking it. So I just have to decide where I think blue should go in this one. And we'll get started. It's going to be these petals right here are going to be blue, and I might alternate blue and purple like I did on the outside circle. Not sure yet, so think about that. One thing that's really frustrating to me is I'm 64 now and having trouble with my eyesight. And this is even with glasses, so I'm very much a perfectionist, or I guess I should say a recovering perfectionist. So I've always struggled with letting go of perfectionism. So part of that now is not optional now that I have trouble with my eyes. So I'm coloring every other one blue just while I kind of try to decide whether or not I'm going to alternate with purple like I did on the outside circle. I wish this was interactive so you guys could vote. Anyways, so I'm trying to keep the pressure, the saturation the same, with similar elements in the mandala. And you might come back later and see something you missed and touch it up a little bit. That's all good too. It's really about just relaxing into it. I normally have very nice music going, and I like to play a variety of music. And then I normally also put some essential oils diffusing, so I have a whole environment. I'll do a short video on creating my environment. But right now we're just being quiet. All right, so I did decide to alternate the blue and the purple and introduced a different blue. And then the other thing I wanted to show you, this is the same purple that I used here. I'm just using more pressure. And as the pencil gets broken in more, when the tip is not quite as sharp, it's easier to press down without breaking the tip of the pencil. And when you press down is when you can get these darker shades of purple like that. All right. So what's next? Back to pink, I think. Nope, I picked up the wrong one. Yep, we're gonna put some pink in these little petals right here. And again, I'm pressing down more than I did up here to make it pop a little more intense. And also the pencil's a little more broken in at this point, so it's easier to press down without breaking it. It's another really good thing about the Prismacolor pencils. They hold up really well. The color lays down well and the pencils hold. If you buy cheap color pencils, then they often break. The color doesn't go down smooth. It's really worth investing in a nice set of pencils if you can. Okay, so I've decided that yellow should go in the middle, and I've introduced another color, this kind of nice blue-green. I'm so sorry that I can't read it. Oh, it says light aqua. And I'm going to do this section also in the same light aqua. I think that will blend it all together. And while I'm looking at it, I think I'm going to add some light aqua inside of these, where it was just the blue before. And I'm doing a little more pressure. You can see it really starting to come to life, right? And all these colors are starting to marry and come together, and it's just becoming really beautiful. It's okay to color over the black lines. That's one way to get the colors, the areas to look full. Okay, so now I'm going to go and do these areas as well, and I will come back to you shortly and see what it looks like. So you can see here that I've decided to do this outer ring in the same blue as this, but I'm pressing down harder to make it darker, and I'm just continuing to go around and go over it, and each time I do, it becomes a little smoother as well. See there? See how it's filling in? There we go. All right, now I still have to do this circle, but I want to show you something else. While we're on this blue, one way that we can create a little more interest so it doesn't look so flat is go ahead and darken a little bit of these areas, and you want to kind of blend it in. So it's going to start a little darker and then release the pressure as you go. So start a little darker and release, and have lighter pressure as you fan out into the blue that's already there. So see how that gives it a little more dimension than just the flat blue. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is, as we go, we get into more and more of these kind of things to really bring more life to it. So I just want to mention that while I had the blue in my hand. And you can kind of put as much or as little as you want. I'm gonna go on around and kind of add a little, kind of like making a shadow, right? In these blue sections, a little bit of a shadow. Make the flower pop out a little more. And now I'm doing the same with this green, just making it a little bit darker at the base so that it gives a little bit of dimension and watching it come to life a little bit, right? And at this point, you might notice I'm being a little careless with the lines. There's so much dense color there that it really doesn't even matter. It doesn't show up much if you go a little out of lines. There's an example of, see right here, like between these petals, there's a space, but between these petals, there's not. So that's what I mean about this design is not perfect, but it's okay. It's okay. Like, the eye is not gonna pick up on that when we're done. When you're in the middle of coloring all this, you will see all this stuff. You will really find all the imperfections. And so maybe that's a good metaphor for life, right? So I've finished darkening up the base of the dark blue petals and the light green petals. And I darkened up the base of these light blue petals. And now I'm gonna throw something else in the mix and put a little light blue in the tips of these purple ones and see what happens there. All right, so just kind of experimenting and seeing what happens. So this is where it starts to just become really beautiful and really interesting. And it's fun. So I don't know where I'm gonna go next. I really never do. The painting always kind of, well, usually I'm painting, not colored pencils, but the piece will reveal itself to you as you go. You have to trust the process, right? Trust the process. It's starting to look nice. Might actually add a little of the blue at the tops of these. down lightly into that, adding the blue into this blue-green, just kind of lightly blending in. This way the colors begin to really marry and melt into one another and start to really come together coherently. There's just like subtle changes, but it makes a difference in looking like something intentional and polished, right? Okay. Okay, so since I have the dark blue here, I decided to introduce another color, and I went to the pencil box and picked a darker purple for this circle. And so I'm going to go around with some pressure, like I did here with the dark blue, and finish this outer circle. And by the way, I did find out that line that's coming through, it is from a cut in the cutting mat, so I will watch out for that next time. But again, if you have a good heavy quality paper, maybe even a cardstock that would be easy to print on at home, or a watercolor paper, then you won't have these kind of problems, because the paper is going to be thick enough and the ink or the colored pencils are going to lay down so much nicer on quality paper. So this is just kind of a intro exercise, so I can talk through some points for you to learn. So while I've got this purple, I probably will do the same thing that I showed you over there, just kind of darken up maybe the bases of these shapes like this to give it some depth and bring it to life a little, and probably on these as well. Okay, so I will check back in once I'm done with that. I just thought of something else I wanted to share too. So a lot of times people start from the inside and work out. You'll notice that I've been kind of jumping all over the place. That's just the way I do it. There again is no wrong way to do it. But this is another reason that I really like the Prismacolor colored pencils, because I've had my hand on top of all this and it hasn't smudged or transferred anywhere. So they're just a really good quality pencil, because the last thing you want is to be coloring here and then smudge your artwork. Okay, so we've finished the outer circle. We can, oops, I messed up right there, but it's okay. You can make it a little smoother here and there. It's late and I'm getting tired, so normally I would stop, but I want to finish this tutorial for you guys. And I've gone around and kind of added a little bit of the darker purple into the lighter purple, especially right around the bottom part there. I don't think I missed that one. So you just kind of lighten up the pressure as you go to sort of blend it into the lighter purple, right? All right, see any that I missed? I don't think so. Could lighten that up a little bit. All right, what are you thinking? I think in order also to kind of blend to the purple, I'll put a little in here, in these blue ones. Again, this helps to harmonize the color, kind of blend them a little bit. It's very subtle. You don't even really notice a whole lot of difference, but it helps to really bring the piece together. Okay? All right, you guys, that is our first very simple mandala tutorial. I don't think I'm done. Let me think on this a minute. Okay, so I did decide to do a little more. This is one of the hard things, is knowing when to quit. So I added some of the yellow onto that blue-green color there. And then I decided to go and add yellow into the tops of these. Remember, we darkened the bottom part, but we left the top part with that light pressure. So now I've decided to go back and kind of fill that in with some yellow. It'll give it that little bit more intense, like the colors in the middle here. It's going to be a little bit more intense, and also serve again to blend the colors, the yellows and the greens, kind of bringing everything together. So I decided to do that. I think it's looking really nice. I might do some more of these kind of blending colors and adding a little bit more intensity, and then I think we're close to being done. If I do, I'll come back and point out what I did. All right, I did some blending in these sections, starting with the light blue. Kind of came down to the middle, and then with the aqua up to the middle. So I added some intensity and blending at the same time here. And you can see how this is really coming to life now. So that is it for now. I may do some more, add a little more intensity in some of these tomorrow, but I think that that's been quite a lot of mandala teaching for such a simple mandala. So I hope that you've enjoyed the process. Please do share your pictures in the group, and thank you so much for being on this journey with me. I'm so happy you're here, and I can't wait to see where we go from here. Love you. Bye-bye. Okay, I told y'all the hardest part sometimes is knowing when to quit, so I could not help myself. I had to continue on. I'll show you a little bit of what I did. I'm still smoothing this out. I added a little swirly here and some shading on one side of these petals, just for some interest. And these petals, there's a very slight difference. This is a blue purple on that side and a purple on that side. I did that intentionally, but left this as it was also intentionally. So this is very subtle. Yeah, just kind of going through, seeing things that need to be done. I also took this, it's ultramarine is the color. It's kind of like a purple blue, and I outlined the top part of this petal. Remember, we kind of shaded in there. I kind of outlined the top part. That way it gives it some depth on the top and in the middle, almost like the petal is curved. And then I went through and just kind of smoothed out just very lightly to blend the purples and the blues. And I am now going to call it done. Good night. It's time for me to go to bed. I love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye. So how did you enjoy doing your first mandala? I know that it was probably a great experience for you. You could download the image and color it again. Again, like I said, do the one that's slightly more complex with just a few more lines added in. But it's your work. You do you. Enjoy the process. And also join my school community. I have a great school community that I'm just now building. You can be one of the founding members, where we'll do more of this type of thing, and also some prayer and inspiration, and just where people can come together in an authentic community where they can get love and encouragement and support, because don't we need that in the world? All right, God bless.